So our next guest is a graduate from University of Bath and has done design and research programs at the EA in London and the University of Hong Kong. She is the founder and principal architect of Plaza and Partners, and their office believes in the importance of rigorous research and attention to detail as components of their design process. She was also the festival director of Anthology 2019, Rika Plaza. Hi again, Rika.
Sorry, I just came out of nowhere. I really wanted to be able to ask Reg a couple of questions because I really do love his work.
Well, that's the purpose of dialogue then.
So before we dive into your short presentation that you prepared, right? Or
No, it's not a presentation. It's
Some-
just
some of your
photos
works.
to like reference the model and like just so that it's not just us talking. It's not a presentation. It's just pictures.
okay, so let's just before anything, let's talk about your practice in the past year because I feel like everyone's practice has changed so much because of the pandemic, and so we're curious to know how your firm adjusted or anything new. I know that you guys ended up moving out of your space where you guys were in Manila and during the pandemic. So just tell us more about that experience.
So I think. Wait, you want to focus on what happened over the last year,
Yes,
particularly during COVID?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our practice is pretty young. We're only six years this year, and we started. So we started 5 years ago. When we started 5 years ago, like you go through a lot of what's the word? Growth pains, right? And you go through a lot of trouble, and maybe like 2 years into running the practice, I think I almost closed my practice down because it was just too challenging. But then anyway, we powered through, which was exciting because when COVID happened, we were so prepared. We were so prepared already to deal with challenges of running a practice. I kind of joke around with my team and say, well, it's a good thing we almost went belly up 3 years ago because we're so prepared for this. Now this is nothing to us. And so we were a bit more agile and we were a bit more versatile with regards to how we are run. So we were kind of prepared because we went bust 3 years before everybody else did. No, but then we were able to recover. Anyway, with regard to the practice, so when COVID happened, I was like, no way. I see you guys in 2 weeks. I know like this lockdown's not gonna last.
We were the same way.
I told my team, basta see you in 2 weeks. It's been a year. We've been on work from home. So one of the reasons we've been able to actually adapt is because number one is communication. We really just nobody knew what was happening and nobody knew what was going on. And so it was really about being very honest with each other, telling my team, like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have the answers, but this is something that we all have to do together collectively in order to be able to overcome. So it was communicating with my team, with our clients, and also just like I called a lot of other architects who are also running their own practices to kind of compare notes. So thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Peach. Will, Jesse, like I became so close to so many different architects over the course of the year because we all didn't really know how to deal with things. But I think first and foremost, we had to change a lot of our systems in the office. The first week of the lockdown, I think I wrote a Bible. It was a business continuity plan. It was kind of a handbook that would guide us through like the first month, and then I told everybody, okay, this is going to be revised as and when we know more of what is happening. We transferred all our systems online. So I experimented with a lot of software. I also compared notes with Denise De Castro and Jason in Cebu. So we looked at software, number one, like how could we replicate the whole office atmosphere online? So that we migrated. Our messaging is all done through Slack. So it's like, like talking through as if you would be like in a table, like with your teammates, right? we put everything on mondays.com. I tried all sorts of project manager and software. We've migrated, we've used monday.com. Also, we're using another software called Monograph.io. It's a software made by architects. So these people who were frustrated about working in the office, they're based out of San Francisco. They wanted to be able to work remotely and mobilely, so they made a software called Monograph.io. I'll show snippets of it actually. If maybe we can just share, like, I just wanted to be able to share this because this is like what helped me, and I kind of got some of this from other people. So this is just a sample.
These are not endorsed, but
This is not endorsed.
she genuinely believes in them.
I pay for the
Yes.
software. But I just wanted to show people like how we've fixed our systems and how we've been able to go almost paperless inside the office. So this is monday.com. So like all our design phases are on there, our deadlines, our due dates, and like who it's supposed to be, who's supposed to be working on it, and literally all our projects are there. It's not shown here anymore, but even our office systems like our finance, our accounting, our HR, all of it is on this. And it's connected to, it's also connected to our Slack. So we get like notifications and we get bugged all the time of when there are tasks that we need to do. So actually we became more organized as an office when we were forced to go online. Because these are things that we wanted to do before, but we never really had the initiative to do so or the time to look into it. But we were forced, right? So yeah, this is one of them. The other thing that I'm showing, if you, how do I go next? How do I go next? There we go. Right.
There's a delay, so don't distort.
Yeah, no, it's moving. So this is Monograph, and this shows us like time against our cost, and this has really helped us. And yeah, going back to what Riri said earlier, yeah, we can take this away now. We can take this away. Yeah, going back to what Riri said earlier, we did move office during COVID because we were paying for rent. That was so expensive. You know, we were in a, like, it was like a 200 square meter office for us, but it wasn't being used. So like the first month that I had to pay rent, I was like, oh, no one, like, why am I paying this much rent when like no one's going there? And then the next
Just
month,
the first month.
and then the next month, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do this anymore. So we moved office. We moved to a much smaller office. Well, prior to this week, we've been going there. Like we go to the office. We have meetings there. We see each other. We don't go every day. We go as and when we need, and when we kind of need to print, check set, and just so on the off occasion that we really need to see each other. It's not ideal. I still believe that, you know, like working with each other, like there's so much.
Studio
Different.
culture.
It's different,
Yeah.
but I think because we are a smaller office, we're a bit more agile, so we can do it. But it's not ideal, but it's okay. And actually, like the project that I'll be showing later and focusing on is a project that we came up with throughout the entire that we've been working on throughout the entire of lockdown. So I think it'll kind of show like how we were able to overcome the absence of physical working, and we were able to move it online.
So this is a pandemic baby.
We can actually dive
Yeah.
right into this project now.
Yeah.
So-
Or-
Do you want to?
yeah, I'll just move it.
Heavy, yeah. So this project is the
So I actually spoke at Anthology last year, and I wanted to make sure that what I would be presenting today was not the same as what we spoke about last year. So this is a new project, relatively new project, but it is going. We're starting construction in June. We're breaking ground, so I'm super excited about that. But the whole design process was online, and I think this is one of our best work. So, you know, it's not all that bad. The whole lockdown and working from home and remote work. But yeah, so this is a resort that's coming up in Siargao. It's in a 2-hectare plot of land. Do we show the model?
My fault. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me just. Do I move it that way? Yeah. So this is. Ta-da.
I can hold up here.
Paano ba? Wait, I'm confused. Ah! How does it go?
I think the angle's okay.
The angle's okay? Right. Okay. So this is a project in Siargao. It's a resort. It's like an 80-room resort. 80-room resort with 10 villas in the back. The whole idea really came about as it came through the movement of water. I wanted this whole project to be about movement, about flow, and just waves. I wanted it to come from fluidity and all of that. So that's really expressed in the architectural form. That is where physical modeling always like becomes really handy and useful. So you're able to like experiment. You're able to like move. Like I don't have the developmental models with me, but we played around with all sorts of shapes for this before we actually came about with it. I'll refer to this as we go along, but like if we look at the perspective instead.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the
this is
perspectives.
what it will look like in real life. And it's not actually doesn't really look like that. Like it's not all trees, but just for the render. One of the things that we wanted to focus on was separation of sound. This is like the more public areas. This is where the rooms are, and this is where the villas are. So the way we organize the space throughout the site is really with acoustics in mind. So it goes like the louder, minimal, medium, with regard to noise, and like the more quiet spaces are in the back. How do we go to the next?
Okay.
Yeah, go.
In
Ask.
Siargao, are there projects of this scale already present? Because I don't recall a big resort in Siargao yet.
I know there are 2 on the way, but I think also because of the pandemic, they've been delayed. There's another one that's going to be built. It's much bigger than ours, so it'll be one of the bigger ones.
How do you what do you think of the larger hotels in Siargao? How's it gonna affect the?
So if you'll notice later on,
Growth.
it looks large on site when you see it this way, but we've made sure to break it down into pieces so that it kind of sits in context and sits within the rest of what's going on in Siargao. Yeah, it is very reflective of what is going on in Siargao. I'll go more into detail as we go along, but basically, the start of the at the front of the development down here, that's what you see right now on plan. So you get your drop off is around here. There's like the reception area has been separated. Siargao, it's kind of hard to get water in Siargao, so all of these are we're using saltwater pools and we are desalinating water. That's why there's a water reservoir also for we'll be recycling rainwater. The client was very he was very particular about that. So those are the systems that we're putting in place. Yeah. So this here, the detention pond is where we'll be collecting rainwater. The pools are all salt water. At the back of the site, there is, we'll have our desalination plant. On the next, okay, this is what I'll be showing throughout the rest of the presentation is really just like different steps and different stages of how we came up with the project. Like it's not all finished. So there are SketchUp stuff because we can't really. It's harder to physically model when you're working working remotely.
Okay.
So we had to do a lot of digital modeling. But this is basically like the entrance of the site, and you kind of get that sense of arrival, and you come in. And again, there's that whole, it really revolves around the whole idea of fluidity. And this is the reception. A lot of every material that we're using is really, we spent a lot. My dad is from Caraga. Siargao is in Caraga. So I grew up really within the area. Right beside it is Agusan, that's where I'm from. And so we were lucky that a lot of the materials we were able to kind of get from Butuan, because that's, again, where I'm from, and that's where my dad works. So everything, like with regard to like the ceiling, the stone that we're using is all local. We're also really trying to be more conscious and trying to reduce our footprint, carbon footprint. So yeah. This is the view outside. One of the things that the client wanted to really identify within this project is that it's supposed to be a family-oriented and family-friendly place. If you notice, the travelers who go to Siargao now, they're kind of the young adults, because there aren't really many things for kids to do, because the water actually isn't that safe for kids. There's a current, so like,
Strong
you know,
waves there.
yeah, it's not really good for kids. They don't, Siargao is a great place, but the island itself, particularly in Malinao, doesn't have a lot of, like, the sand is nice, but it's also, there's reef. So one of the things that we wanted to focus on within this project this is the detention pond. So going back to what I was saying, was how to make this a family-friendly
The safer
project.
spaces.
Yeah, so we kind of made like amongst like the team, we identified, so what can kids not do in Siargao, and it's swim in the water, because it's not really, you know, like there is that undercurrent and it's not so safe. So we made the pool the emphasis of this project. So if you look closer, this is like the reception, and if you'll notice, it looks big on aerial, but actually when you experience the spaces, they're all broken down, and there are these small areas and points of interest that we wanted to make sure was in the project. Again, materials and also even the patterns of what we were using in the interiors. I was very specific to like the Lumads, who are the Lumads and the Manobos who are from Siargao. So this pattern is here, number 3. That's like, we took that from a Manobo pattern. Yeah. And even the stone and all of that, and that's applied like in the surfaces of the project. So this is like the main, the heart of the space, because like I said, like it has to be family friendly. It has to be like kids need to be able to go there, and that's here in the heart of the site. The way we position the pool, we were very conscious also of sun shading, because people don't like to stay in the beach when it's hot, like at 12 noon. So we've been very conscious to use the building as a means to shade the pool so that it's actually still a pleasant place to stay. The way we've also positioned the building is inside the property, so that when we do get neighbors left and right, the resort still feels very much like an oasis on its own. Yeah, so that's like the heart. That's the middle. That's where most of the rooms will be. I was also very like, because we've had so much time to really reflect on this, like we don't typically design a hotel over a year, but because we've had so much time, we've been able to go down deep into the detail of the project, where the rooms are also, I really wanted in every way to be able to bring the outside in and use in as little as possible, like the electricity, like in air conditioning. So if you notice, even our bathrooms are kind of like outdoorsy. You'll see that later on in the perspectives, but bringing in nature is something that we've really tried to do and be guided by in this project. So the shower, you have access to the outside. And again, like we looked deeply into materiality and into that richness of the patina with the materials that we're using. I didn't put it pala. No, next. Anyway, whatever, sorry. It's not here. It's in the next. But yeah, anyway, in the back, we have the villas. That's like around here. And then there are 1 and 2 bedroom villas in the back. So the theme kind of carries across the whole project. But here, so the bathrooms, I didn't show it earlier, but the bathrooms do look like this. So they're all outdoor. It's really about trying to bring air into the bathroom and making the bathroom like an experience in itself, because usually the bathroom is the most neglected part of a hotel room. So we wanted that to be an experience in itself. Again, like this villa, okay, like I said, we have pangit renders, we have nice renders, we have it's all different because like this has been developed in different stages. But yeah, there. So I think
so. We have
that's
to wrap
Siargao.
up on this project. Yes, we have to wrap up a bit. And so, with the last few minutes we have, why don't you just tell us a bit about, especially in this project, how it is that you really brought your firm's design philosophies into it? What were the particular things that in this project and other projects that you guys have worked on? What do you focus on to make sure reflects your firm, your practice?
Well, the practice is really about, I guess it like now it's so cheesy because it's been the philosophy that we've had for the last like 6 years, and I don't think it's ever gonna change. But
is that meant to change? Is the
design for better? No, it's never gonna change. No, because I think design for better really goes to how can we use design as a tool to improve life and the way we live. Architecture is not going to solve problems, but it can be a tool to be able to achieve more, right, for a greater humanity and such. So this project was really about how we can, how we can add value to Siargao. I think I know a lot of people have been saying, wait, I don't want to say too much, but no, I don't want to like offend anybody, but yeah, no. So it's really about like how we can improve the place and how we can attract more, especially like local travel is going to really boom. So one of the things that my client was saying, oh no, let's just keep building because in a year or two, like when the building is done, like people will want to get out, but we won't be able to travel abroad. So like let's continue with like let's focus on local tourism and yeah, he's still pretty excited about that.
I see there is a question that our tech team is trying to get to us. It says, were you able to consult the zero carbon resort guidelines?
No. It's actually really very hard and very costly to, if we're looking at, I don't believe in certifications and such. I think, it's good, they're good, but oftentimes they're a bit costly and, like they don't necessarily, every project has certain context and conditions that all these guidelines don't necessarily meet. We are doing what we can with regard to sustainability. Like the roof is flat because it'll all be solar panels. We'll be harvesting. We'll be desalinating water within the site. Yeah.
And I think also that what's a little bit better than looking at the general guidelines is that you did your own research. You did your own studies. You sourced locally. You looked at like what was Siargao lacking.
There were
in all these
efforts
things.
made to contextualize
And I think that's
it.
more
in materiality.
quote unquote sustainable thing to do. It's more specific.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Yeah.
We're good.
I think we have to wrap up now. We're getting the cues.
She sees our cues because she's with us. All right, so